Hey folks, I'm Vasel. Welcome to Look Back. This is where I take a look at reviews that I did a year, 5 years, and 10 years ago. Although 10 years ago, I wasn't doing reviews this week in June. So we're just gonna talk about ones I did a year and 5 years ago and how they've changed. So we'll start with 1 year ago. First of all, we'll start with Tower of London. Tower of London, it's a really cool theme. In fact, I think I recorded the intro to this game or the outro at the Tower of London. It's a great thing, but the game itself was just about getting points by having rooms. Felt like there was too much randomness in the game. It had some neat ideas, but didn't pan out to be that interesting of a game. This War of Mine, this is interesting, right? Because this War of Mine is essentially a game that makes you think about the actual problems that war causes and the innocent people caught up in it. It's based on the video game. It is extremely depressing. It makes you think. I don't know that the game is super fun, but it definitely teaches lessons about things that happen. Miskatonic School for Boys. This was, I guess, a sequel of sorts to Miskatonic School Girls, which I didn't like. This one's a very different game. It's a logic game as you're trying to figure out about yourself. You're trying to figure out which person is being possessed at the table to some degree. And there's a lot of interesting back and forth play to it. Then we have the Kyoto Protocol, which is a game I didn't expect to like because there's just a bunch of cards and you're basically trying to get these different cards as you play back and forth. It's a very basic game, but it had some really good card play to it. Fantasy Realms. This game just keeps getting better and better for me. It doesn't look like much, super generic theme, but as you play these cards, you're taking cards from the table and you're trying to draft the best hand you can get. The scoring for the game takes longer than the game itself. It's a very quick game, but you're just trying to get the best combo of cards and you get these really cool combos, but so do other people. I really like it. Then we have Near and Far. Near and Far, just a fantastic game. Still in my collection. One of my favorite games I've ever played. I love the storytelling aspect to it, but I also think there's a really strong game to it. Just top-notch all the way through. And then the two expansions for Champions of Midgard. Champions of Midgard Dark Mountains, which has improved for me a lot, especially when combined with the other one. But I just like the more options it has and the different dice. But Champions of Midgard Valhalla is one of my favorite expansions of all time, period. I think I will never play without it. It adds a whole lot more options, especially what to do with dead soldiers, lots of different dice, gives your leaders more unique abilities to separate them apart from the other ones. Just unbelievable. All right, let's now jump to 5 years ago. So we'll start with La Boca. Now this game got a lot of love from a lot of people, and a lot of people enjoy it. But it's where two people together are trying to build something, talking back and forth. And I found that I didn't like the game much because you're not involved in a lot of the game, and it's not very interesting when you're not playing. That I just didn't find that cooperative building in this particular instance to work that well for me. But again, a lot of people did enjoy it. Antique Duellum. This is the two-player version of Antique. I never played Antique, and I probably never will because this version kind of turned me off from it. It just felt too abstract and too boring for me to really want to get into. Iron Rain, this is a castle building game. Some people said it's based on a computer game called Rampart. It's like a Risk-style game, but it's very blocky. It's very generic looking, and that's kind of dropped it a bit for me as time goes by. Then we have Pack of Heroes. This is a superhero style game where you're trying to put the heroes in the right spots. Nothing spectacular, but it does work, and it's a quick, fast game to play back and forth. Hanabi. Yes, the very, very, very popular Hanabi. I am obviously not as big a fan. I liked it when I first played it. I still like it. I don't dislike the game. I just don't find it that fascinating. That whole idea of you're giving each other clues essentially as to what's in your hand because you can't see your own hand and you're trying to play cards in the correct order. And that works. It's just not something that I like as much. Not something I kind of seek out. So I guess that's why I dropped it a bit. Then we have Catan Frenemies. This is a small little module for Catan that most people won't know, where you can help other people out a bit, but you also get benefits out of it, thus Frenemies. I took a look at Leviathans. It's a huge game from Catalyst Games that was going to be their air balloon, or their air dirigible combat game after Battletech. It's a really cool big box, miniatures and stuff. They never really did add much more to it. It is a little bigger than I would normally want to play, but I do like the whole move around and shoot at each other across the board. There were some cool concepts there. Ghost Stories Black Secret. This is the second expansion for Ghost Stories. Not nearly as good as the first one. And in fact, I barely play with this one these days because I like base Ghost Stories and I like White Moon better. But Black Secret does add some cool aspects and I'll play with it occasionally. Arctic Scavengers. This is a deck building game. In fact, this was, I took a look at the reprint of it because this came out directly after Dominion back in the day. There's some neat things about Arctic Scavengers where you're all kind of fighting over different things in the middle. It's much more interactive than many deck builders are. It's good. It's a solidly good game, especially when you play with all the modules, which came out in the upgraded version when I took a look at this. Meeras. This is an ant game about building an anthill and workers, and it's good. It's good. I dropped a little bit because there's so many ant games out. I don't know that Meeras it really differentiates itself, and it's a little tougher than the rest. Like if you make a few mistakes in the beginning of the game, it's hard to catch up, but it's one of the deeper ones that is out there. And then Enchanted Tower. This is a great kids game. I still have it to this day with my kids, where you're going through trying to find something with a piece with a magnet on the bottom. So you're searching for that as you move the pieces around the board, trying to find the magnetic stuff underneath, which is a cool concept. And it's a one versus all game. There's very few of those for kids. And then finally, On the Underground. On the Underground is a great older game about taking the London Underground, and there's one passenger and everyone's trying to move that passenger over their subway lines and get it to the right spot. Just some fantastic combinations. I think it's best with 2 and 3. You do that, it's one of my favorite games you can play. All right, well that's the look back here from a year and 5 years ago. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.